Hello guys, good morning, sorry, good evening. Welcome to the session today. Hope you all are doing good. So let us start with so if you remember, we have learnt about a Google Cloud Storage, and now we know that Google Cloud Storage is one of the storage service where we will be able to store the data, any type of, any kind of, any amount of, right? So that is one of the very good platform. But what if, okay? So for example, I have a data with me. That data is structured. Okay, it is a structured data, and I'm going to, when I say structured data, it will be in the form of a tabular format, right? So it will be having rows and columns. Okay, and what I'm looking at, this is what kind of a data with, this is the kind of data with me that I wanted to have some SQL query engine. Okay, and I need to have a SQL query engine. I would like to have a SQL query engine so that I can go for the DDL and DML operations. Okay, so I can go for the DDL and DML operations. Okay, which will be very useful for my transactional activities at the application and or at the software and whatever it is. Okay, so this is right. So far we have dealt with the data which is kind of file formats, or which is kind of a data which is not in the form, even though it is a tabular structure. Okay, but we have not worried in the cloud storage data. I need to have a query engine so that I'll be able to perform some kind of a data, some kind of a queries on top of my data. Okay, so if you have such a kind of a requirements, do we have any solution for that? So that's where the RDBMS solutions in the GCP came to the picture. So one of such solution is a Cloud SQL. Okay, and so let us try to learn about what is a Cloud SQL from today onwards. And before that, I'm going to give you a small idea of what is actually a data and all of those things. Let us just recap and we will go to their Cloud SQL. Okay, because there are few people who are very new to these topics, right? So let me open up one of the presentation. Data. Data. 1 minute, guys. I forgot where is that actually. No. I think I'll be having somewhere here. Yeah. Okay. This is what I want us to understand first. Then we will go to, because here we go understand what actually the DBMS and what are the different types of a DBMS, and that's where we will enter into our Cloud SQL. Okay, sir, what is a data? A data is nothing but a collection of information. Okay, a data is nothing but a collection of information. So some people also define it like this: and data is nothing but a collection of related facts as well as figures, which has a little format to it. Okay, so this is what how the people going to be defined. And what is a database, guys? In a database, you are going to store the related data. For example, when you wanted to, when you are when your company is focusing on your business, so your business is related to the banking, so all of the banking data you are going to store here. So related data mean to say the banking sector data. Okay, when you are running a healthcare industry, so that is a healthcare data. And if you are running a finance, then it is a finance data. So you are going to store some kind of a related data in your database. A database is nothing but it's a placeholder where to store the related data. Okay, so that is a storage layer. And we have one more topic, that is DBMS, Database Management System. Database Management System. A database management system is a software package that has a capability to manage your databases. Okay, which has a capability to manage the databases, guys. So DB, nothing but a database, MS, nothing but a management system. It is going to be managing your databases. It is mainly for your managing the databases. Okay, so there are two types of databases, guys. Database management systems. One is relational DBs and one more is non-relational DBs. Okay, one is relational DB, one more is non-relational DB. Relational DB, nothing but a relational databases. One more is non-relational databases. Okay, so if I go further, so I want you guys to understand there are three varieties of or three classification of the data. One is structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data. So semi-structured data is something that data which is in the form of a tabular format and which is having a rows and columns, and schema must be defined properly. And here we are going to SQL query, SQL language to query the data. So that is a structured data, guys. And after that we have a semi-structured data. A semi-structured data is may not be in the form of a tabular format and which is not having a full structure to it, but it has some structure to it. Okay, so it is having some kind of a structure to it. So something like JSON format or a CSV files or a key value pairs or a graph databases. When you go and look at the JSON, it is not in the form of a tabular. So when I say a tabular, it is a structured data if it is having a schema. But JSON is not a, is like a key value pair databases. So you are not having the data of full structure, but some structure to it. So that kind of data I am calling as a semi-structured data. In unstructured data, you will not be having any kind of a structure to your data. So this is something like your video files, audio files, images, and sensor data. For structured data, the data that you store in your databases or data warehouses or ERP and CRM software. So all of that data, which is in the form of a table, you are going to call it as a structured data. And semi-structured data, you call it as a CSV file or a XML file or JSON files. You can call it as a semi-structured data. And unstructured data is something which you're going to be dealing with as a video files, audio files, images, sensor data, as well as the documents. Documents such as PDF files, Word files, all of those. Okay. In the real world, we will be having only 20% of our structured data. 80% of data is unstructured data. Okay, 80% of the data is unstructured data, guys. Okay, so this is what is a classification of data. We have three classifications. One is structured, semi-structured, unstructured. Back to our DBMS, we have a two DBMS. One is relational databases, one more is non-relational databases. So I'm going to be taking the relational databases. So if I'm going to be talking about a relational database, I just want you guys to understand what is a relational databases and what is a non-relational databases. So when I talk about a relational database is one that stores the data in the form of a tables. Okay, that stores the data in the form of a tables. When I say a table, it will be in the form of a rows and columns, and the schema must be properly defined. For relational databases, schema must be defined. A schema is nothing but the relationship between the columns and rows. So when I say a column, it is having a column name. The column data type will also be there. So as per the data type, the entire column data will be stored. So if it is a data type is a string, you cannot store the integers. If it is an integer, you cannot store the string values. So something like that. There is a relationship properly. And schema must be properly defined. Relational databases are also called as SQL databases. Why, sir? Because SQL is a language that we are going to use it here to run your queries or DDL operations or executing, running or retrieving the data, editing the data, updating, deleting, inserting, whatever the operations you wanted to do. All of those operations you can be doing via SQL language only. So that's the reason it is also called as a SQL database. SQL DBs. Okay, so this is what is a relational databases, guys. So SQL stands for structured query language. It's the language that the relational databases are written in. SQL is used to execute queries, retrieve data, edit data by updating, deleting, and creating new records. So this is what it is. And for the example, for the relational databases in the real world, you have these. You have a MySQL, you have a SQL Server, you have a PostgreSQL, you have a Oracle as well. So these are the examples for the relational databases, sir. Okay, relational databases are also called as the SQL databases, are also called as the transactional databases, are also called as a operational databases, are also called as a source databases. As per the work, if you are working with a data engineer, data engineer calls it as a relational databases. If you go to the application developer, they call it as a source databases. If you go to your operations team, they're going to call it as a, this is a operational databases. If you go to your transactional team, they're going to call it as a transactional DBs. So if you go to your business managers, they're going to call it as a relational DBs. Okay, so this is how the nomenclature will be, and they are also calling it as a SQL databases because it has all the relational databases are written with help of the SQL language only. So this is how the SQL, this is how the data stored in the relational databases. You can see here, there will be a table. Table will be having column names and rows. So these are called as a rows. These are called as a columns. Okay, so this is how the data will be in the form of a tables. And one more is the non-relational databases. Okay, so non-relational databases are also called as a NoSQL databases, first thing. And non-relational database is in any database that does not use the tabular schema. Okay, that does not use the tabular schema, but it will be having the data in the form of a table also. It can be the data in the form of a table also, but it does not have a schema. Okay, it does not have a schema. So that is the main reason. So the main difference, so in non-relational databases, it is having actually 4 phases. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. One of this one, wide column database, the data will be in the form of table only. So what is the difference between this table and the table that is there in your SQL databases? If you look at it, this table will be having rows and columns. This will also be having rows and columns. But here, schema is defined properly. Here, there's no schema. So that is the main difference. Okay. So that is what the first point it is saying. Non-relational databases is any database that does not use the tabular schema of rows and columns like relational databases. Rather, its storage model is optimized for the type of the data it is storing. So whenever you are trying to store the data, that is going to be optimized as per your data that you are going to store it there. So it does not have any constraints like a schema. So that's what he is saying. Okay. And non-relational databases are also known as a NoSQL databases, NoSQL databases, which stands for not only SQL. Here you are not only using the SQL, some other languages also you will be using. So that's the reason it is called as a NoSQL databases. Where relational databases only use SQL, non-relational database can also use other types of query languages. So this is what is the reason it is called also called as a NoSQL DBs. Okay, non-relational databases are called as a SQL databases, and non-relational databases are also called as a NoSQL databases. Okay, so in relational databases, you only have one type, that is tabular data. But when you go to non-relational databases, you have 4 types. One is documented databases. The data here stores in the form of a documents. Document 1, document 2, document 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, here in the document-oriented database. So non-relational databases having 4 types. One of such type is a documented database, where the data will be stored in the form of documents. And one more is key value stores. So non-relational databases have a second type, that is key value data types, where the data will be stored in the form of a key and value. Okay, so something like that, key value. Okay, key value pair. Key will be there, value will be there. Key will be there, value will be there. Documented database. The data will be stored in the form of a collections. Collection 1, collection 2. These are all documents only. Okay. And one more is a wide columnar database. Wide columnar database is similar to your relational databases, where the data will be in the form of a tabular rows and columns, but the data will be wide column. The columns are very wide compared to the rows. So that is the reason it is called as a wide column. So when I say the data will be like this, you will be having less number of rows, but many number of columns. So that's the reason it is called as a wide columnar database. Okay, one more is graph database. So graph database is also one of the type in the non-relational databases, where the data will be in the form of a relationship. So if you wanted to go show the data in the form of a relationship method, or a graph method, or a parent-child method, or a node, or a just whatever the type you wanted to store, so that's where the graph databases come into the picture. Okay, there are 4 types. One is document-oriented databases. So the very famous database name example for this one is MongoDB. Okay, MongoDB is one of the famous database management system for document-oriented database. And key value page, Cassandra, is a very famous database. Like MySQL for the relational, PostgreSQL for the relational, right? MongoDB for the document-oriented database, Cassandra for the key value page, and even I forgot. HBase is for the wide columnar database, and this is for the Solr. Okay, so these are the 4 examples for the document-oriented. They're very famous. There are plenty of other types as well. So these are the very famous. So you might have heard about it, MongoDB, right? MongoDB is one of the non-relational document-oriented database. Cassandra is one of the non-relational key-value database, and wide column is one of the HBase is one of the non-relational wide columnar database. Solr is one of the non-relational graph database. So these are the 4 phases that you have. When you go to relational databases, you only have one type, that is table. The data will only be in the form of a table. But when you go to the NoSQL databases, you have a key value phase, you have a SQL databases, you have a graph, you have a wide column. Graph is like this one. So you wanted to show the relationship between each and everything in the form of, with the help of the nodes and edges, right? So that is where you use the graph databases. Wide column, the columns are very wide. Okay, even though we will be having 80% of the data is unstructured data, but 90% of the data engineers are working on the relational databases only. All the data engineers, 90% are working on the relational databases only. That means where, sir? Here. Only 10% of the databases we are working on the graph. We are working on the key value. We are working on the document, column oriented, and this is one. Okay, so 90% of the databases are working on the SQL databases. Okay, and the graph database is 33%, 64. This is how the popular, these are the popular DBMS storage models. And I have here the examples for the SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQL Server, and Oracle. For the SQL databases, you have a HBase, you have a MongoDB, you have a Solr, and you have a Cassandra. Okay, so this is how the difference between the databases, DBMS, and the classification of the data is like structured, unstructured, semi-structured, and you have a relational databases and you have a non-relational databases. You can also call it as a SQL databases versus NoSQL databases. Okay, any questions anyone having? And I think if you can go further, you will be able to see a few more differences as well. The difference in the SQL and NoSQL. So fixed schema, there's a dynamic schema. These are only table. There's a key storage models are these 3. For SQL, you will be using SQL. It's not only SQL here. Scalability is a vertical scaling here. Scalability is not vertical, it is a horizontal. When I say vertical, what is meant by vertical and horizontal scaling, sir? You have to understand this point. So I want you guys to understand this one. When you go to the scaling, there are 2 types. One is vertical scaling. There is a one more horizontal scaling. Horizontal scaling is keep on adding the one more device to your existing infrastructure. Keep on adding one more infrastructure to one more device to your existing infrastructure. One more extra resource, one more extra cluster, extra resource, extra machine to your existing infrastructure is nothing but a horizontal scaling. Replacing the existing infrastructure with a higher machine. Here also adding only, but you are just replacing the existing one. Okay, so replace existing one with a higher machine is nothing but a vertical scale. So there are two types of scaling. One is vertical scaling, now also called as a scaling up. Horizontal scaling is nothing but a scaling out. Keep on adding the one more resource to the existing infrastructure is nothing but a horizontal scaling. And here also you are keep on adding the extra resources, but by replacing it. So that is called as a vertical scaling. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay, when I say, for example, you have a 4 GB RAM, you try to increase it to the 8 GB, right? So this is what it is. Now, relational databases are SQL databases are horizontal scaling. No SQL databases are vertical. SQL databases are vertical scaling. Horizontal databases are SQL databases are vertical scaling. No SQL databases are horizontal scaling. So it is scaling up. It is scaling out. And it follows asset compliance, atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. You'll be able to see here. Atomicity is nothing but entire transaction takes place at once or doesn't happen at all. Consistency, isolation, and durability. Try and go and search. So what is actually this asset properties? You need not to learn about it, but it's very good to have some kind of information. Consistency means database must be consistent before and after the transaction. Isolation means multiple transactions occurred independently without any interference. Durability means the change of a successful transaction occurs even if the system failure happens. Okay, so that is what is a durability. And you can able to see here availability. Relational databases are very highly available. Horizontal scaling. Relational databases are no, but non-relationals are higher. Vertical scaling is for relational databases. Data storage compared to the less. Here you can able to store huge volumes of the data. Performance is relational databases are less here high because wherever you go for the horizontal scaling, the storage properties as well as performances and all of those things will actually increase. So that's the reason non-relational databases are high amount of data they can able to store comparatively, and the performance is also very good because you are keep on adding the one more cluster, one more machine to it. Okay, you cannot do that in the relational databases. You cannot do that because they are actually installed on only one machines. Readability, completability, suitability, flexibility, all of these things are also there, guys. So take a picture and try to understand these points. Okay, yeah. So this is what is the difference between the relational databases as well as non-relational databases. Any questions anyone having? Great. Let me go. And I'm going to introduce you one more service related to the SQL databases, that is Cloud SQL. Cloud SQL is one of the ADV solution available in the GCP. It's a fully managed service. You already know what is meant by fully managed, and it's a RDBMS solution. As I just now I told you what is an RDBMS also. RDBMS is nothing but a relational DBMS. Okay, RDBMS don't confuse. Okay, relational DBMS. Relational means relational is nothing but a R. Relational database management system. Okay, SQL Cloud SQL is one of the RDBMS solution available in the GCP, and if we wanted to work with the Cloud SQL, we have to create an instance here. Okay, when you try to create an instance, when you click on create an instance, okay, it provides you the three database engines. Okay, it provides you the three database engines. One is MySQL, one more is PostgreSQL, the third one is SQL Server. Okay, that means Cloud SQL underlying work with these database management database engines. Okay, so the main idea is that, so if you are working in your on-premises, you wanted to migrate your data because on-premises maintaining the MySQL is not easy. Okay, so that's where you are lacking maintenance, right? So if you wanted to manage your infrastructure by someone, that's where the cloud providers are for. So you can go to your Cloud SQL, you can migrate your entire data from MySQL to this Cloud SQL MySQL. Then you will be able to have your data
managed by the, because it is a fully managed service, it will be managed by the cloud provider from now on. So that is what is the main idea
for Cloud SQL, guys. Okay, so Cloud SQL, MySQL database engine, PostgreSQL, and SQL Server. Okay, it also provides you the versions. If you wanted to work with any of the database engines, just choose it. Okay, just choose it. Okay, once you have it, you provide the instance name, password, database version, and where you wanted to do it. Okay, so you wanted to have this instance for the production development or a production environment or a development environment, where you wanted to select it, whether you wanted to go for the region and the zonal capability, because it is not a multi-regional service, it is a regional service only. And if you wanted to customize your instance, you wanted to select your machine type and the CPU, storage, RAM, connection, storage. If you wanted to go for SSD or HDD, and you wanted to go for storage capacity, how much data you wanted to store, and connections, private IP or public IP, and data protection. If you wanted to take up the backups daily, as well as you wanted to enable the deletion protection, maintenance, flags, query insights, labels, whatever the things if you wanted to do. All of those things are readily available here. Just to configure it within 3 to 4 minutes, your entire database engine will be readily available for you. Okay, so yeah. So this thing we will see on Monday, guys. Okay, so this is what I wanted to cover today. I just don't wanted to give a lot of information today itself. So we're going to be creating an instance on Monday, and I'm going to describe it. Before that, I just wanted to describe the Cloud SQL very clearly. So let me open my notes. I'll just define it properly and I will leave it for today. Yeah, this is what is a Cloud SQL. Okay, Cloud SQL is one of the fully managed service. What is it, sir? It's one of the fully managed service. You already know what is meant by fully managed, right? Where we don't want it to take care of the any infrastructure, virtual machines, all of those things, right? Automatically taken care by the cloud provider itself. And it is one of the RDBMS solution, nothing but a relational database management system, where you will be able to store that structured data. The data will be in the form of a tabular, where the data, when I say tabular, rows and columns will be there. The very most important is schema must be defined properly. So this is what is the RDBMS solution. Cloud SQL is one of the RDBMS solution available in the GCP. And also called as a database as a service because it is one of the service and it provides you the database. So that's the reason people call it as a database as a service only. Okay, and it is only a regional service. As I was telling you, it does not have a multi-regional capability. Okay, so Cloud SQL does not have a multi-regional capability. You can say that it is a drawback from the Cloud SQL. It is only a regional service, and it is secure and compliant. So you need not to worry about it whether the data will be secured or not. And the scalability. So from you will to maximum 64 terabytes of the data. It's not a GB, sir, it's terabytes. Okay, from 10 GB to the 64 terabytes of the data, you will be able to store per instance. So if you wanted to create any number of instances, you can actually create any number of instances. Okay, until 64 terabytes of the data, you can able to. And automatic storage increase option is also there. Whenever you are nearing the limit, automatically the storage increase will be increased. And you can set up your database within minutes only. Once you have provided your configuration, it will be created in very few minutes. Automatic replication will be there, massive backups will be there, data will be available. This is where we have to learn. And this is first thing we will see. It is providing you the 3 database engines as I shown you. One is MySQL, SQL Server, and PostgreSQL, including versions as well. Okay, and if you want to work with the Cloud SQL, or if you wanted to interact with the Cloud SQL, what are the ways, sir? So you can open your workbench. From there you can work, or from there you can interact with that, or from the shell environment, Cloud Shell, you can able to interact with it. Or if there is an application, the application stores the data, right? So application end also can able to connect it to your Cloud SQL to store the data, web server, application, all of those things. So this is what it can be easily integrated with other systems easily. You have a plenty of Google Cloud services, right? Cloud SQL is one of the service where it can be easily integrated with the other system, other services in the Google Cloud platform. So this is also one more important point. Okay, so the main use case for outside is that this is what. So if you are working, if you have a MySQL on your local machine or your virtual machine, so this is where is nothing but a on-premises you call it as. So when you wanted to migrate your data and you are looking for a MySQL solution and you are looking for a same version of that, so that's where the Cloud SQL is for. Cloud SQL provides you the 3 database engines and including the versions as well, so that you can able to select your version, you can able to migrate your entire data from your local machine to your Cloud SQL. You can do by a manual process. You can also go for your database migration system as. Okay, so this is what it is, guys. Yeah, any questions? This is what is a Cloud SQL, guys. With this one, I'm stopping the class for today. I have some work, guys. So we will be seeing the rest of the things, how to create an instance. Okay, how to create an instance, and after that, how to work with the Cloud SQL using the workbench as well as your Cloud Shell. We will see all of those things, and then we will also do some small project on this one, cloud migration project, manual as well as DMS project. So that's where you will be able to understand the migration things. Yeah, yeah. So this is it for today, guys. If you have any questions, you can ask me. So far, yeah, at this point of time, until today, it is not having any other databases except these three. I'm not sure. Maybe in the future they may release it. Yeah. Yeah. All of those commands you can able to execute it. Correct. No, all will work. It's a machine. It's a machine. Okay. So you already know, right? Some of the laptops comes up with the Ubuntu version. Right. So in Ubuntu, if you wanted to interact with any of the services, what do you do? Use Linux commands only there. Okay, you try to come up with the Linux commands only. So all of that's also a machine. This is also a machine, but it is hosted on a cloud. That's the reason it is called as a virtual machine. But that is a physical machine. That's it. That's the only difference. Other than that, all the things will work out here as well. It's a virtualization. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Yeah, it's your choice, sir. For example, every day you wanted to take a backup, right? So you can able to select your time and take the backups. And you can go for the restoration. If your database crashed, sir, I wanted to take a restore from the backup, you can also do that. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna give you a small task to you guys. So you are having 2 days weekends, guys. So I think I'm expecting all of those people are familiar with SQL, but some of them are not familiar with Python, right? I'm going to take this as a good time and I'm going to try to give you a small 1 or 2 hours of, task or assignment or whatever you call. Okay, so let me gonna give you. I I want you guys to, those who are not familiar with SQL, go for this. Who are not familiar with the Python, go for this one. So I'm assuming that most of the people are already familiar with SQL. If not, go for this one. For those people who are already familiar with SQL, I'm going to give you small assignments. Okay. Sorry. Yo. Okay, so what you have to do is that take 1 or 2 hours just to focus on this point. Variables, operators, dates, not required, not required. This is not required. This I'm going to see later. Just to focus on these 2 guys. I just want you to focus on this one and this one. Not this one. Here I'm going to mention the functions. Okay, so it wouldn't take much time. It shouldn't take much time. Okay, so if you are already a Telugu people, you can actually go to your channels in the YouTube. Okay, so I'm here. Okay, I'm going to open some YouTube Telugu channel. I'm going to tell you. So what are the best Telugu channels for learning the basics of very basic concepts? Okay. Very basic. Other things we will learn in our upcoming class. Some people were asking some questions. Sir, I received the below message after created my account in GCP. Dear customer, we have activated sharing instructions on your ICSA. Right? So don't click on that. That's not a problem. Okay, so if you don't click on that, even though it is 75,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, that kind of a messages will come into the picture, but not even a single rupee will be debited from your account. Okay, so that is something you need not to worry about. So for the Python for data engineers will do that. Or if you wanted to go for Telugu also, you can able to go for Telugu, sir. So that is your choice. There is one guy, Python by, there is one guy who actually gives the knowledge, Python for beginners, who actually gives the knowledge in very easy way. I forgot him. Not this guy, not this guy, not this. My internet is very slow. This guy, I forgot his name, guys. No. Okay, I will share it, guys. If you know any other Python best things, you try to focus on that. I think there is one guy for it. So just to focus on. Anyway, you can go for this one also, Python in Telugu. That is take and try to focus on 2 hours in the weekend. Just to focus on 1 hour each, 1 hour per day. Learn about data types and conditions as well as functions. 3 topics, only 3 topics. One is data types, one more is conditions, one more is functions. Okay, conditions is if function, if else. Functions, nothing but defining a functions, right? So only 3 topics. It wouldn't take much time. Okay, while doing it, what is the difference between a list and tuple? What is the difference between the list and array? What is the list and difference between list and frozen set and frozen set? All of those things try to learn. Okay, because those are the commonly asked questions in the interview. Okay, yeah, that is it for today, guys. Thank you all. Any questions? I'm going to put this there. I'm pasting in the chart, guys. learn it. Okay, yeah, someone is thinking me, right? So Avinash Jadhav, yeah, tell me, Avinash.
Yeah, Saidhul, it's earlier ping.
Okay.
When there is no audio, I just want to confirm
Okay,
whether you
okay,
started or not.
No problem, no problem. Yeah.
And one more thing, we did on yesterday?
What we did on yesterday?
No class on yesterday, no?
Yesterday was a class. There was a class yesterday. We have learnt about the Linux commands, and we have learnt about all the Linux commands using the Cloud Shell. And after that, we have interacted with the Google Cloud Storage via Cloud Shell using the Linux commands.
Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Okay, okay. Then we need to see some recordings. Okay.
Yeah, you can go for the recording, yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. That very important class. Don't miss that out. Okay, it actually gives you a very good knowledge. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Take that from the chart. Okay, keep that in your notes. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Saidhul, paste it in our chat as well.
I have pasted it.
Prakash, is it there?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I can't see, that's why.
Yeah.
It's in the bottom. Go down, go down. Okay. I pinged you again. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you all. Bye bye.